Hello, hello. This video is being made November 1st. I know the quantity of videos has definitely been decreasing. I've been a bit busy. I've been doing a lot of remote work, kind of dug deep into the crypto space. I know as soon as before I got into crypto, when I would hear the word crypto, I would think, oh, like it's not legit. It's just like people trading meme coins, and it's basically gambling. And I thought that for a while until I really dove deep into it. And it definitely is a little bit of a gamble for sure, but it's definitely a skill. That's like a whole side thing. That's like something separate, a video that I wanted to make down the line. This video I want to talk about body dysmorphia, and specifically I guess I wanted to bring it, like when people think body dysmorphia, you know, the first things that come to mind, I think of girls who are quite clearly anorexic, like objectively, but you know, they don't see it, and you know, they give themselves eating disorders and they think that they're still fat even though they're objectively skinny. The second thing that comes to mind is guys like maybe Alex Eubank and, you know, the influencer Greg Doucette, where, you know, guys who've been going to the gym for a while and they're clearly jacked or in very good shape with abs, but when they look at themselves in the mirror, they see a fat guy, and I think deep down they know that they're in pretty good shape, but like what's happening is that their standards are rising more and more, and because of that they now see themselves as fatter than you know, they compare themselves to social media influencers. And a lot of people say, you know, comparison is bad and comparison is a thief of joy. Actually, will play devil's advocate with that, and I think comparison to an extent is good, so long as you know, you're not comparing yourself to like the, you know, like I want to be like, you know, you need to be like somewhat realistic, right? But comparison is what kept our species alive. Without comparison, we would not continually adapt and evolve. My hair's like kind of crazy right now. I talk about looks maxing on this channel, and my hair's crazy and I look homeless. Yeah, so I guess my own experience with body dysmorphia, I've been in like a kind of a deficit. Not really, I need to really lock in. I want to go like from November, today's November 1st, I'm really locking in now. From November 1st to maybe like March 1st, I really want to be at like 10% body fat. Right now I'm at 20% body fat, and or maybe like 15-20, right? And I look in the mirror and I see like physically I could tell that I'm in good shape, and when I'm with my friends they all say I'm in good shape, but I could still I definitely relate to the whole bodybuilder, you know, not really with muscle. I'm not really super big on muscle. I don't really care too much about it. But leanness, I notice now that I carry a lot more fat than I realized. And I wrestle with that a bit. But what I wrestle with even more when I look in the mirror is face. I call it facial dysmorphia, where there are some days I look in the mirror and I truly see a very disgusting human. And there are other days I look in the mirror and I see a pretty good looking human. And there's a good chance, if you're experiencing this, that you probably fall somewhere in between the two. That's a pretty good insight that I learned from a YouTuber. The right answer is usually the one that falls in between the two that you're thinking about, or not the ones that you're thinking about, but the right answer is usually in the middle between all of the answers, and the simplest answer is usually the right answer. Pretty interesting solutions to most questions that you could ponder about in your head. But yeah, I mean, you wrestle with it all the time, and especially if you become very, men and women wrestle with it. I think it's growing now. I think a lot more men are wrestling with facial dysmorphia, especially because of looks maxing and the black pill, and women as well. But I'm probably the most, I mean, I can't read other people's heads, but out of everybody that I know in my life, I'm pretty confident I'm the most insecure person like I've ever known. I don't. It's bad. Like when I'm in class, like I I know it probably sounds crazy, but like when I'm like just sitting down in class, I feel like the people next to me are like looking at me, and they're probably thinking like I look like a monster. And a lot of this is reinforced not just by my own perception, but by other people's perceptions. So when I was in high school, I was bullied a lot for the way that I looked. And, you know, to this day, the things that people said to me still stick in my head. And I remember like the exact social situations. I remember the exact insults. I remember the exact words that they would say. I remember a girl was like at a party, and she thought I was my friend, and she thought that I was my friend, and she was like all over me, but because she was very drunk. And then she looked at me and realized I wasn't that my friend, and then she said, "Ew, oh my God." And you know, stuff like that sticks with you for sure. And I'm not really gonna necessarily give advice in this video. I know in a lot of my videos I give advice, but in a lot of my videos I also realize that I'm still a kid. I'm still 20 years old, and I'm kind of I have a lot of learning to do. Like the person that I was at 18 versus the person I was at 20 is like hugely different. And I'm gonna make a lot of videos just about like my self-doubt, you know. But yeah, I just want to talk about it a bit. It's crazy. It's almost like you're two different people. And because reality kind of works in a way where everybody treats you based on the way that you look, and if you feel like you look like 5 different people, if somebody takes a picture of you and you feel like you look like a different person compared to how you look in the mirror, compared to how you look on camera, compared to how you look in a selfie, it's like you don't even really know who you are, and you don't know what to base your personality off of, because you don't know how people truly perceive you. And a lot of people are afraid to see if people truly perceive you. And a lot of people, this is like a theory that I read where, you know, face dysmorphia and body dysmorphia is only common with people who don't look as good as they think or look worse than they think. But I don't think that's true either, because I have seen a lot of models who wrestle with this. And I've seen a lot of, I guess, some unattractive people who also wrestle with this. So I think it really just is something mental, a part of our upbringing that causes this, the people who wrestle with it. A tendency to overthink, maybe a tendency to stare too much, stare at ourselves in the mirror too much. Yeah. And I guess the conclusion I'm finally making, after wrestling with this in my head for years I've dealt with this since I was a kid, and now it's just exemplified even more so. So now it's to the point where I can't even really hang out with my friends without, you know, making sure I look like, if somebody tries to like take a picture of me, like it's like a group photo, I always need to make sure like I look my best and like clench my jaw before I do it, or else it'll destroy my entire week if I don't look the way that my expectations were. And like, you know what I'm saying? And it's gotten to this point where it's just like way too much, and I'm finally just like done, and realizing this is like destroying my head. And there's people who don't think about this shit, and people probably don't care. Like there's some people who will really like judge your appearance, and the whole philosophy of the black pill is everybody judges your appearance. But when I meet people who, let's say, look a little strange, I take that, I notice it, but I really do see them as people. I think the way that I said that sounds wrong. How do I mean it? If you let the insecurities, whether they're there or not, if you let them consume you 24/7, you're gonna miss out on so many opportunities and so many possible friendships and so many possible events. And you're overthinking it so much to the point where it's affecting you so negatively. And the truth is, most people don't really care. Like, I've seen people who've had like what other people would say are defects in their face, and I wouldn't even necessarily call them huge defects, but like, let's say someone has, is a burn victim and they have like a face that you could tell that they were burned. Or let's say someone has like big ears where they point out this way, right? I notice that. I'm not gonna lie. I do notice those things. I feel like we all do. But I think as blue-pilled and as Disney Channel as it sounds, it almost makes a person unique. And even if it is like considered a flaw, I still do I like those people equally. If like, I don't think it actually even is an issue. I think, as Disney Channel as it sounds, everything there is kind of beauty in everybody. That sounds so Disney Channel. That kind of goes against like the whole philosophy of like the videos that I've made on this channel, but it's like I'm wrestling between the black pill philosophy of like reality is completely based on attractiveness. Your physiognomy is what creates your personality, and you'll be bound by this truth. But then I also know about it, and I see people who have flaws, but I treat them the same way I would a person who doesn't have those flaws. And is it because I'm aware of their judgment and I'm maybe feeling sympathetic because I used to be that person in high school that was judged all the time? Or is it because most people just don't really care and I'm one of those people? And maybe this happens as you get older, but I'm realizing more and more people don't really care about they care about their own body dysmorphia and issues, and they'll notice you and they'll come up with whatever perception that they will. But if you're a reasonable person, if you're nice, if you smile, if you are kind-hearted, even flaws can become beautiful. And those flaws aren't even necessarily flaws anymore. They just are something that make you look unique from the rest. Or maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. I hope this video helps someone. I think the one piece of advice, pretty general advice, I know a lot of people give this kind of cliche quote, but you really shouldn't be insecure. You shouldn't let those things consume you. If you're really, 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 really insecure about something, and if it's something that is, huge, like you have like a, 20-inch nose, and if it's really bothering you, then yeah, get it changed if it's really affecting you. But you'd be surprised in the things that most people don't really care about. And even if you see those things as flaws, people might even find them kind of quirkiness, like kind of quirky and kind of cute deep down, as blue pill as that sounds. You're missing out on so many things being insecure. It'll eat you up inside. It changes your personality. You can't really be yourself. And that's what kind of destroys the light that's inside you. And I think that's why so many adults, among other things like financial responsibilities and all that, as you get older you have more responsibilities, which is taxing and causes stress. But I think a big reason why people as they get older have a more negative attitude and start to become anxious and depressed compared to when they were kids is because they can't be who they want to be because of insecurity. And I think life is too short to really be focused on that. You're missing out on a lot of opportunities being insecure. The world is kind of your oyster, and any potential person that you meet could be a huge asset for you long term. For example, I have friends who completely changed the way that I see the world. And if I was too insecure to even say hello to them during class, we would not be friends and I'd probably be a completely different person. So it doesn't make sense. If you're insecure right now, you really gotta eliminate it. I hope this helps. Peace.